Hi everyone, Amazing here. Welcome to my free Excel dashboard tutorial right here on YouTube. This is the second video of this particular movie dashboard that we are creating right here in Excel. So right now it is very dynamic. As you can see, we can hide our sliders and actually reveal back our slider, just not to make our work to be some kind of rough, so we're able to use that particular feature to help us make our work to be very much clean. So we have the slider that has to do with the ears and all of that right here. So you're gonna have it closed. Let us see the work we've done right here using this particular data set in the previous video. So you can actually take a look at that video and see how you can actually avail yourself the opportunity of creating something like this yourself. So now if you look at it, if I plug the same slider on it, it changes and give you the top movie, and as well give you some commentary that actually has to do with this particular actor that has to be the top one. So right now let us see how we can actually create it from the scratch. So what I'm gonna do for the first time, if you've not watched this particular video, go take a look at the video number 1 and actually see how we can go step by step to create this. Now for we to actually get these things done, so I want to see the first thing we're gonna do right now. So I'm gonna click back to the previous one we've actually completed and see what we're gonna do. So now this is the task we're gonna actually take right now. So movie with max duration, and we're gonna have to do it this way for the first time. So I'm gonna go down right here and see how we can actually get that summarized. So here is our data. So we have our data right here. So what I'm gonna do right now, having this data, is for we to actually summarize the data and get what we want out of the data. That is the analysis. So right now if I hit on this particular insert, what am I gonna see? I see pivot table and I see recommended pivot table. So don't always go for a recommended pivot table. If you do that, this is what it's gonna give to you. Just wait in the jiffy, you're gonna see that to come up. Okay, nicely, here we go. So it's going to recommend something like this to you, which is not what you really want. So you know what you want, you can actually get what you want from what you're gonna actually have right here from pivot table. So once you click on this, if you are here for the first time or you're new to pivot table, you're gonna see existing worksheet and new worksheet. So right now if you don't have any worksheet open, so just click on this and say okay, it's gonna default to a new worksheet. But right now because we have existing worksheet, I'm gonna click on this particular one right here and I'm gonna drop it right here. A word of caution, please, if you're working for a client or you're boss in the office, because your pivot table might grow to the left or to the right or to the bottom and actually affect other pivot table, always use a new sheet. That is it. Okay, right now what we need to do right now is for we to get the title of the movies we have right down to this particular row level. So and the next thing I'm going to do right now, because we are trying to get the duration, the highest duration ever, I'm going to actually click on this duration. I can actually say okay, I click it or I drag it down. So if I click it, it might actually feel like, oh, my text. So it's actually looking at itself as a text right now. So we're gonna move it to the value area because it's a value. But look at what is happening right now. It's actually defaulting to count. So we don't want counts. What we actually want is summary. So which is summarization of the whole value. So I have it clicked. So what we're gonna do right now is just to click on this summary right here, and I'm gonna hit what? I'm gonna hit OK. Now we have it. So how are we gonna do this? I'm gonna show you the first way to get what you want from there. So hit this particular aspect right here and go to what? Go to value filter. So when you get the value of this filter, scroll down, you see top 10. What you're gonna do with top 10 is just for you to actually lower it to just top 1. So this is how we get what we want from it. Can you see that? It's awesome. But right now we don't want grand total, neither if we want it to be on row labels. So what can we do? We can hit on design, and when we hit on design, we can go to what? To report layout. I can say show in tabular form. So we have the first one solved. I'm going to say remove grand total, so both rows and columns. So now here we go, it's gone, and we have it nicely like this. This is awesome. Almost done with it, but not fully done yet. So the next we're going to do right now is for we to make sure we include minutes in this that we're going to show on our dashboard. So I'm going to hit equal to, I'm going to hit this right here. So I'm going to concatenate this with my minutes. So give it a space, and I'm going to hit another, and now this time around I'm going to say okay, give it a space, then hit this. I'm going to say okay, sorry. So you have this close, and I'm gonna hit enter. So here we go. it's exactly what we need. So right now we need to actually concern ourselves about the dashboard. So what are we gonna do to get this done? So we need to actually get the dashboard the way we should. So right now I'm gonna say okay, fine. So right now this is what we do. I'm gonna have to drop this right here, and I'm gonna make sure it clears this area. So if you see, what we have right here is just a line, so that you can actually, you know, avail yourself the opportunity of getting. So here we go, we hit this. So this is the line right here. So what you can do to have it as what we have right here right now is for you to actually hit on shift. When you hit on shift, just double click and hit on shift and you drag it. It's gonna look smooth. So if it cuts along the way, hit on shift and actually see it's gonna go in a straight line. But if you don't do that, you can see if you are trying to do this right now, it's gonna actually curve, else you have to hit on shift. So it's nicely like that. So the next thing I'm gonna do right now is for you to go down to the insert, and from insert I'm gonna hit on this particular aspect right here and pick this right here. So what I'm gonna do is for me to actually have this here, I'm gonna drag it, hold your left click, and here we go. I can say I'm okay with it. So right now I'm gonna actually right click on this and go to what, format shape, and in format shape the kind of color I'm gonna choose is this gradient, and I have it already on it. So I'm gonna remove what? I'm gonna remove the go back, the key to fill line. I'm gonna take the line off, and here we go. Nicely we have something like this. So the next we're gonna do right now is for we to get our analysis right here. So how we're gonna do that is very simple and easy. So what we need to do for the first time is for we to actually get a title, just like what we have right here right now. We need to get this particular title right there. So how do we do that? So we can actually copy from here because it's just a text, so we don't need to actually go and reinvent the wheel again. So we can go right here to actually keep the video very short, so we can actually have this dropped here, and here we go. Nicely I'm gonna have it down here. And so the next we're gonna do right now is for me to actually have this duplicated and actually make it our, I'm gonna go to the top level here, say show the formula bar, and if I hit on the formula I'm gonna say equal to, now I'm gonna bring down my words, go to analysis, I'm gonna bring down the title of the movie that is having the highest, and what I'm gonna do is for me to actually have it duplicated again. And this time around, it's not the title of the movie, but the duration of the movie, which is this, not this. We have this formatted, so I'm gonna say okay to it. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually have to give this a color, and the color I'm gonna give to it is a yellow color like this. I'm gonna have it on bold, exactly. So now I'm gonna give this a white color, and I'm gonna actually crank up the, okay, nicely, give it bold, and I'm gonna say okay, give me white color. So this is exactly what it is. So right now if we go back to our main dashboard, what I'm gonna see, we're gonna see something almost similar, right? So I'm gonna actually pick this away from here to my dashboard and make sure it looks like what we just have right here. So we go and I'm gonna have it dropped, move it down. So nicely, this is exactly what it is. So I can still go ahead and actually crank this up. So what about this? This is cool, right? So the next thing I'm gonna do right now is for me to actually see what is the top scale movie. Top scale movie and the lowest scale movie is very easy, just like what we've done, but I'm gonna show you how to recycle through your formula or through your pivot table instead of you to go back to data and actually summarize again. So you can recycle through this. You all need to do is just to copy it from here and actually click on copy. I'm gonna have to drop this right here right now. It's what you need to do. So right now we don't need this particular duration again. Instead of duration, I'm going to change the duration to what? I'm going to change it to IMDb scale. So if I bring it this way, we're going to see we have this score right here. So what we need to do right now, I can actually show you the second way to actually get what you want. Right click on it and go to filter, and now we go to the top 10 and we go to be needing the top one scale. And here we go, we have the top one score. To get the lowest score that the company actually give to movies, I'm gonna actually have to duplicate this and actually have this right here. Okay, click on the top level and hit on this particular filter aspect. Here we go, just change one thing, like one thing, just like this. Here we have the bottom, and if we just say okay, now this is what we have. So right now we will need to actually have this just like what we have right here, but I'm gonna make this very snappy. Wow, we've just achieved the same thing just like what we have in the dashboard, but you might be surprised, how do we get this arrow on it? So it's very simple. You can just go to the top level right here, hit on this, and you can see the arrows right here. So here we go, you see it upside down one. So just pick it up and actually resize it and give it the kind of color you really want to show the highest and to show the what, to show the lowest right here. So the next thing we're going to do right now is for me to actually show you how to get this down. You might be surprising, how did you get this right? So right now if you look at this, every single time I change it, it's going to actually give you some kind of, the image is going to change the size based on the highest, top 4. Among the top 4, the highest one is going to be bigger and all of that. So how can we do this? So let's see how we can do this right now. So I'm going to go back to my main workbook right now, and here we go. So this is one thing that has to do with trick. So we need to trick the pivot table to actually let us create this particular kind of chart we want to create. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to go through on this. So go to analysis. I'm still going to go on this recycle of the thing ahead, going to the data source always. So now I can drop this right here, and here we go. Now what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take this particular score off it, just deselect, and what I'm going to do this time around, I'm going to go by revenue. So right here I have my revenue right here. So I'm going to say by 4, which is the top 4 revenue is what I'm going to have analyzed here. I'm going to go for the top 4. So we'll reduce this to 4. So if I hit OK, this is what I have the top 4 revenue right here by movie. So now for we to create a kind of chart, if I actually hit on the analyze and go to pivot chart right here, so what I'm going to have is this particular chart. So this is the kind of chart I want to use, but I can't use it. You cannot use an XY scatter. No, that is not possible. So I can still jolly pivot table to allow me to do that. So I'm gonna actually highlight everything. I'm gonna Control C. So it's still around. Look at the kind of paste I'm gonna do to actually get me what I want. So I'm gonna right click on it, and here we go. We have this particular paste link. I'm gonna paste link, and if I paste link and show you what this paste link has done, you're gonna be like, wow, I think this is cool. So right now let me just deselect this from here. So now here we go. If I double click on this, is what I'm gonna have. If I double click on this, is what I'm gonna have, which means it's linked to this. Every single time this changes, it's gonna actually affect this as well. So right now I can now create the kind of chart I want to create with this, and it's gonna look very, very awesome. So how about this? So if you don't know about this before now you know. Okay, fine, here we go. I have my dollar sign on it. So right now if I now click and actually highlight the whole step and go to insert right now, so what I'm gonna see on insert is this particular chart we have right here, and this is kind of chart I want to actually have. So I can have it right now. So I can actually remove this particular chart title. I can click on this and have it removed, and here we go. We have this particular kind of chart. So I can make it smaller, and now I can actually cut it away and take it to my dashboard and see how it's gonna fit in. So if I have it this way, I'm bringing it down, just turn around, I'm bringing it down right here, and make sure it sits right here. So I'm gonna actually have to go, and here we have remove everything that has to do with, I want to give it some kind of 100% weight. So now here we go. I can now bring this down a little bit, so I'm cool with this. So if I double click on this, I'm gonna bring up this particular format chart area, and I'm gonna say no fill, no line, and I'm gonna say no fill. Here you go. So you can now make sure it sits right now, exactly. So we can say no line again, and the line is big enough, it's 10 enough. So we can actually make sure we resize this to what we really want. So we can bring it up, make it bigger. So here we go. So right now we need some image to be on this particular kind of chart we have right here. So this is exactly how we build this. So what I'm gonna do right now is for me to actually make sure I actually take it off from this, so I can save this one. So I have images right here. So the images I have right here is this image. I can actually copy this image from here and go back to my dashboard and have this click it again until you see something like this. Now you can go to this particular fill and line and hit on this particular picture, texture fill, and now you click on this clipboard, and you have the image right there. What about this? Awesome, right? So if I go back to my image, I can actually have this copy. So go back to my dashboard right now. I can click on this. Now it's been clicked. Go back right here, and I can click on this, it's actually training this, so now it's duplicating this. I can actually click because I've already copied on that one. I click this clipboard and here we go. So I do the same thing to this as well, all that. So go back and pick the image. Now here we go. Awesome, right? If I bring up my slicer right here and actually place slicer on this, what I'm gonna see is just it's gonna work perfectly. But right now it's not really working because our slicer is not connected to this. So let's see how we can connect this particular slicer to this. So it's very simple and easy. So let me just show you how to do that in another way that you might have not actually tested before. So right now if I go to my analyze, I'm going to locate this. I'm going to click on this particular aspect. I'm going to go to analyze. From there I hit on filter connection and I click on OK. Here we go. It's nice. There is another way to do it, the same thing. If you want to do it that way, it's cool. Right now every single time I apply the filter, I have everything changes, but this is not included yet. I'm going to do that in a jiffy. Now let me show you something. If we go back right here and right now, and you see we have top 4 movies right here. Every single time we don't have top 4 based on our selection, it gives us how many we really have. I don't know which one this could be. Trying to search. Okay, right now I can have this closed and actually go to year and see if I select 2010. If we have top 4 2010, what we're gonna see is the number of the top we have in that particular year. But right to get it, but you're gonna actually get to see what I'm trying to say right now. If I hit on this 19 or if this 9, now we don't have it, so it's giving us 0 because it's giving us a count. So we can do this. So let me show you how to do this. It might be surprising, what are you doing? But don't worry, when we get there we cross the bridge. So right now here we go. I'm gonna have this particular one right here, so I'm gonna say Ctrl V without wasting much of a time to have it build over and over. I went to copy it up. So here we go. So right now what I'm going to do is for me to go back to my analysis. So now I'm back to my analysis. I'm going to say here, I'm going to say count A. I love using functions with pivot table a lot. So count A will help me to count this particular aspect right here. So if I hit enter, and that is okay, it gives me 4. So right now I'm going to actually have to do this. I'm going to say okay. Okay, I'm going to say top. Okay, I'm going to have to put my quotation upwards, close it. So I'm gonna have this concatenation right here, which I know most of you can do. And now this is my top 4. Yeah, this is my top 4 revenue, top 4 movies. Okay, I'm gonna say top 4 movies. I'm gonna have another one right here. Now I'm gonna say movies. So yeah, this is my top 4 movies right now. So what I need to do, the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to actually have the summation of this particular movie right here. So the summation is going to be right here. I'm going to say sum. So I'm going to actually have to select this whole area, hit enter. I have the summation right here. So what I'm going to do is go back and actually hit right here. I can actually decide to actually bring it down without having to use okay, I'm gonna hit on this particular formula bar. I'm gonna say equal to and hit back on analysis, and now I bring this particular dynamic title right here and make sure is justified, put it on bold and crank it up a little bit. Okay, reduce it. So now here we go. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to actually pick this one away from here and duplicate it and have it right here and change what I have inside it, just like this. So if I go for my analysis, I can actually choose this particular aspect. So right now this is the total revenue generated by these top 4 movies. So right now I can actually make sure I have it cranked up so nicely. So I'm gonna have it on white about this. That's cool. So put it on bold and make sure it is sitting right inside here. So if I go back and actually pick my slicer right now, place my slicer on it, every single time I place the slicer on this, what is going to happen is that we're going to have a change. I go to horror, this is how much we've made, and if I go to romance, so this is what it is. This is what I'm trying to tell you right now, is giving me top 3, but 2 of it is can't really show up because what is really too small, but it's giving us a calculation right here. If I go to scientific, it's giving me my top 4. If I go to thriller, so you can see what it's giving me. It's giving me top 3. Now this is the third one, 1 2 3. So because we don't have top 4 of it, so it's giving me this and giving me the count right here. It's awesome, right? So right now we are done with this. Let us see the next step we're going to take to actually have a very dynamic Excel dashboard built right here on my channel. So now I'm gonna have to go back to our main dashboard, and this time around we're gonna see how we can actually create this particular type of value we have right here. It's very simple. It might not be what you've seen before, but it's something very easy to be done. So let's see the total revenue and total budget we have for each movies, how we can actually get that calculated. So if I go back, I'm going to hit on analyze, and I'm going to actually still recycle through the same thing I had been doing. So I'm going to actually get this down. So I'm going to have to drop this right here. So this time I'm going to move away this particular scale and take the title off. I'm going to concern myself much about the revenue and the budget. So now I can actually make sure okay, what I'm gonna do for me to actually get what I want, I'm gonna go to number. From number, I'm gonna hit on dollar. I'm gonna say okay, nicely, and here we go. So right now, what I'm gonna do right now is that I don't want it to be as long as this, but I want to make it shorter using billion sign or million sign if there are. So how can we do that quickly? So we're going to go to formatting. I'm gonna say equal to this right now. So right now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to say divided by what? I'm going to divide it by a million, because what we have right here is 185. Oh, okay, I'm going to divide it by a billion, so it's 185 billion. So what I'm going to do is just like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Now this 90 represent me billions, right? So if I hit enter right now, this is what I'm going to have. It's some kind of weird, but right now I need to round this. So I'm gonna actually click on this. I'm gonna say okay, round. I'm going to this experience round by 1. So if I close now, I hit enter. So what I have is 185.2 billion. So which means it's cool, right? So I need to actually include my what? I need to include. I need to concatenate this right here with a billion sign. So how might be right here. So here we go. This is exactly what it is. So if what I need to do right now is for me to actually drag this down here, and I have this just like this. So this is awesome. This is exactly what we need to do to just get what we've just gotten right here like this. So I've shown you how to do this. It's very awesome. So we can now bring it down here. So I'm gonna actually have to copy this away from here and have this copied, and I'm gonna have this copied as well, this sign. So now that I have all this copied right here, I'm gonna copy it and take it to my main dashboard and see how that goes. Now to make it snappy, we have this right here, so I can actually go right here and actually have this duplicated and bring it down to this particular level, and now can go and pick up our revenue and bring it down here and see what it is that we can actually do to format it the way we want it. So now here's our revenue. I'm gonna hit the button and say okay, now we have it. I have duplicated, and now I can bring my budget right down here. So this is what I'm gonna do, go and hit on the budget and see what the budget can actually do. So right now, here we go, here's the budget. Now what we can do is just to format it to what we really want, then we are good to go. So let's see how we can actually format this. So we can actually click on this right here, and I'm gonna go to this particular home and have this tap twice and give it to this, give it to this. Here we go, nicely we're done with this. So the next thing is gonna be how country is actually giving us the best revenue. We want to do that. So right now I can actually still recycle through my analysis right here and try to get that done. So here we go. I'm gonna copy this away from here and I'm gonna plug it down right here. So do not worry, if you have this downloaded, you're gonna have a very nice backend to actually get to see how what I've done, how everything is just gonna be, you know, easy for you to replicate and all of that. So this is what it's gonna show you. So if I go right here, I can actually go back to my analysis, and here we go. I have everything being cleaned out for you. So what we're just saying is just a way to actually show you step by step how I did everything, but if you get it downloaded, you will understand how everything goes. So go back to our main sheet, which is this particular one right here. So already I have it duplicated. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to still leave it by revenue, but this time around I'm going to take budget off it. No more budget, so I'm going to go by country, and the country is going to be the top 3 countries ever. So I'm going to click on this, and I want to hit on the top 3. I'm going to go to top 10, so I'm going to have to reduce this. Now here is our top 3 countries. Now Germany, UK, and the United States. So right now I can actually give it a chart right here, and the kind of chart I want to use is this particular type of chart we have right here. Go to Pi, and from Pi I'm going to choose this donor chart, and I'm going to hit OK. That is cool. So right now I'm going to have to reduce this to something very smaller as this. So but I don't really need this, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the country off. I'm going to say hide, and I'm going to say the total. It's going to go away, and this time around I'm going to move the legend to the top level. So here we go, the legend is here. I'm going to say go to the top level. Now this is awesome. So if I double click on this, what I'm going to do is for me to actually say okay, I don't need any fill, neither if I need any line. So right now I can take this to a dash, but before I do that, I can actually click on it and go to the top right here and hit on this particular aspect and make sure this is bigger. Just not too big, not too big. Reducing it. Okay, fine. Now the next thing I'm going to do right now is for me to change the color of this particular aspect. So double click and make sure it's selecting this one alone. I can now change the color to something nice like this. So this is correct. So what I'm going to do right now is to me to get this cut away from here and actually go to my dashboard and have it dropped in right here to fit into what we have nicely. So now here we go. So as you can see, we are having something closer to what we want, but we don't want this particular outline on it. So I'm going to say no line, and here I'm going to come right here, and okay, before then I'm going to go to the top, go to shadow, inside the effect I'm going to choose shadow, and I'm going to put it on all, and I'm going to actually have to make sure it's like this. So now it makes it some kind of standout. If I click on this one, I can now change the color to something very nice. Okay, I can change the color to something like this. So how about this? That is correct. So now here we go, nicely. So we've just gotten this one ready in just this very small time. We're able to actually achieve this. So what I'm gonna achieve right now is total revenue from this particular country. So it's the same thing we've done right here. I've shown you how to do that, so I'm just gonna do that behind the scene and show you. So now here we go, we've just gotten this result right here. So if I place my filter on this, it's gonna actually work fine if I have it connected to this particular aspect right as well. So now here we go, nicely. So now let us see how we can actually have it connected to this particular slicer to get it work the way we want it. Now this is working very fine. Now if I actually place a filter, everything you see is actually filtering, and this is awesome. So if I remove the filter, you get to see this right here. Everything just get to change. This is what it is. So right now we're gonna actually go to this other face of this particular Excel dashboard, which is this particular aspect right here that we have. Let me just see. Okay, fine, here we go. In this particular aspect right here is gonna be very simple, so we're gonna actually get to do this right now. Let's see how to do that. So we've actually run to this aspect. It's very simple, very easy, just like what we've done right here is what we've done right here. So I don't need to actually show you and actually bore you with my time and all of that. So now if we actually plus filter, everything just get a filter all together. Right now let's see this very dynamic aspect that is actually very important for you to watch and know how to do if you want to actually replicate the same thing to your own Excel dashboard. So right now let's see what we can do right here. So now if we have now this one, now we're gonna see it based on revenue, and this is the top genre, top 10 genre ever we have. And if I want to go by a MDB score, so we have the highest score is comedy, and if I go by the movie released, so what we're gonna have to be the highest, so it's still comedy and all of that. So the budget being placed, so which has the highest budget is actually action movie. So how do we do this? We can actually interact with this by doing this. It makes me feel happy every single time I actually, you know, create something nice like this. So now I'm going to copy this away from here. I'm going to be ending it here right on the dashboard. So I have to drop it down here to see what we can do to have something dynamically built just like that. So here we go. I'm going to pick it away from here. I'm taking it down. I'm dropping this down as well. So here we go, nicely. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is for you to create the kind of chart we really can have for this. So how do we do that? This is what we can do. I can go back to this, and this time around I'm gonna have to go by this copy this way from here. So I'm going to drop it down. So in order to have that kind of chart built, so what I'm gonna do right now is just to make sure this is showing. I'm gonna show this particular field. So if I have the field shown, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the year away from here, but this time I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna say okay, now I want to see the budget. I want to see the budget, and I want to see the score. I've gotten the score on it. So the budget and the score and the count of movie, I'm going to go by the date released. Here we have it on every column. So right now it's going to give me this, and now what I'm going to do is just going to be I want to go by genre. So where is my genre? I'm going to go this, and here we go. Right. So if I go back to my dashboard, what I'm going to do right now is to make sure okay, fine, I don't need to do this now. And I need to actually have to click this particular aspect right here and click on this particular field function setting. I'm gonna have to remove it, and here we go. So if it doesn't go, what you need to do is just for you to clear the filter away from here. So now if I have the filter cleared, I have everything right. So but right now what I'm showing is 10. So we're gonna go right to the top level right here and show top 10, and actually come right a little function that is gonna actually help you to get what you really want. So I'm gonna say top 10 of it. So if I hit OK, it's giving me the top 10 exactly. So right now what I'm gonna do right now is just to come down to this particular aspect, and now I don't need this. I'm gonna have to close it. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna actually highlight everything from here. I'm gonna say Ctrl H. So I'm gonna say some if. So some if right now I want to get them off. Sorry, sum off. So I want to get the sum off away from here. So I'm going to replace that with nothing. So it's gone. So we don't have it again. Okay. So right now what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna click on this particular one, number of movie released. Movies. So if I hit OK, I have this. So right now this is cool. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually have to copy this away from here, and I'm coming here right now to drop it. So I can drop it here, and this time around I'm gonna actually get this here. If I feel like connecting it, because if it changes, I want to actually change alongside with this, I can actually right click, but it's optional for now though. Now I have it right here. So now it's connected. So every single time I double click now, it's actually highlighting this for me. So this is cool. So the next thing we're gonna do right now is for me to actually have to see what this can actually do. So I'm gonna go to developer tab. If you don't have your developer tab right here, so what you can do, you can just right click and go to customize ribbon. So when you actually click it, and the dialog box is gonna pop up. So once it pops up, you just gotta choose there right there. So right now this is developer. If it is like this, just check it and hit OK. So because I have it before, I'm gonna cancel out, and here we go. I'm gonna click on it and go to this insert right here, and this is what we want to actually use, option button. So option allows you to choose one option at a particular time. So we're gonna actually align our option buttons right here and see what we can do with our option buttons. So we kind of have to rename them to what we really want. I can name this to be my revenue. So I can name this to be my revenue. That's cool. So the next thing I'm gonna do right now is to have it duplicated. Now that I've gotten it this way, I can have this revenue duplicated to fit in right here. This is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna actually create a chart right now. So for you to create a chart, I'm gonna actually get some, okay, let's say I'm gonna get it budgets. I'm gonna copy this budget right here as a sample right now before I make it very dynamic. I have the budget right here, so I'm gonna actually expand it. So right now I'm gonna actually have to highlight everything and go and create my chart to see how we can actually make this dynamic later. So now we're gonna hit on the kind of chart we want to actually create, so which is this particular chart right here. I'm gonna choose this very 2D close to chart. So right now I have this chart, so I'm gonna actually bring it down a little bit, and now I'm gonna remove the revenue. I don't need title, neither if I made this, I don't really need this for now, and I'm gonna take it this way. So cool. So it's gonna go away, and I'm gonna actually take away this particular fill border. I don't need any of them. I'm gonna take them off. So I'm gonna take it off as well. So now let's see what we can do before we make it dynamic to switch between them. So I'm gonna actually copy this away from here to my dashboard. So here we go. So we cannot drop this right here. So I can drag this down and make sure it sits right here. So I'm gonna click on this, and now we can go this way. Here we go. So nicely. So let us just see, we have something like this. So if I actually go ahead and change the color, so we're gonna have this particular color to sit right there. So I always love this color to be on it, so because it's actually correlates with this particular colors I have on my image. So right now I have to change this, but if you look at it right now, it's not dynamic in any way. We can't change anything, but we're gonna create that very flexibility of we changing the kind of metrics we actually have to see on this. So how do we do that? So now I'm gonna have to close this away from here and start to create that very interactive chart, just like what we have right here. So let me just go ahead of it. So just like what we have right here, every single time we actually make a change, so once we click, we have the dynamical change. So that is kind of chart we actually have to create right now. If you look at it, we have this right here. So all we need to do right now is for we to actually right click on this. Make sure right clicking on it. So just click on this format control, and here we go. We kind of go and link it. So I can actually give it 3D wherever if you like. It's optional. So you can actually, okay, before we do that, we need to actually place our cursor to be inside this one right here, and we go back to analysis. So from analysis, so I'm gonna actually link it down to the top level right here. This is how we're gonna actually go about it. So I can actually hit OK. So right now, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to make it dynamic. Every single time I make a selection right there, it's going to actually have some kind of effect on this particular chart we have right here. So let's see how that goes. So right now, I'll make my chart to be sitting right inside here, and I go back to my analysis sheet, and now we have to make everything dynamic. So the first thing I'm going to do is just for me to locate what am I selecting. This fall, whether this falls right here. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to say okay, now I'm going to be using index to actually get this done. So index is going to be looking for the array, and the array is going to start from here and ends right here. So I'm going to hit comma. It's going to be asking me for the row number. I'm going to provide this row number for it. So here, if I hit OK, so it's giving me this one. So if we count 1, 2, 3 is the fourth one. If I go to the first one, so what am I going to have? So this is the first one right here, is revenue. So right now, this is how we're going to actually have to do this to make sure it's some kind of dynamic. So let me show you one particular aspect you can actually use to get this down. So the next thing you can do is for we to actually go right here and bring up okay, I'm going to say formula. I have my formula right on top of it. So right now I've actually got my formula. So right now what I'm going to do is just for me to actually select this whole area and actually name it header. So header. So what I'm going to name this now is just I'm going to select this whole area and name this range. I'm going to name this data range. So header and data range. So look at how everything's going to look very snappy right now. So for the first time, I'm going to actually have to get this away from here right now. We don't have anything on top of it. So if we go back to our dashboard, so you can see everything just got disappeared, but it's going to come back. So I'm going to go to this analysis page, and I'm going to say okay, equal to this. So remember, we give this header and we give this data range. I'm going to tell you the reason why we do this. So if I hit on equal to, what I'm going to have right now, I'm going to use index and match match. We call it index and match because we have two matches right inside this index and match. So right now what I'm gonna do is asking for the array. So the array is this. So if I select it, it's just like if I actually type in the name. So I can actually select it, or I can decide not to select it but to also type the name in. So it's gonna be, if I type D, it's gonna give me the name. So once I actually have it like this, it's gonna help me highlight it. So that is the array. So now it's asking me for the row number. So the row number is going to be determined by what I have selected right here, which is this number right here. So how am I going to do that? I can't give it directly. I'm going to use match to actually get it down. So using match this time around is going to actually say, okay, now if you're going to use match, so what do you want? Oh, sorry. So right now what I really want now is this. I want to see what am I selecting right here. Every single time this matches what we have right here, is going to throw out this particular value right here. So I'm going to say I'm selecting this, and this time around I'm going to actually give it comma, and it's asking me for the lookup array. So the lookup array is going to be this. I'm selecting this. So right now I'm going to tell you the differences between this and this right now. So because I don't have this named, it's actually giving me this particular aspect. Because of that, I'm going to have to lock this down, else I wouldn't have done any little locking if I had named it. So now that is the major difference between you naming your range and as well leaving it unnamed. So right now if I hit comma, what am I going to have? It's asking me if I need the exact match. Exactly, I need the exact match, of course. So now that is cool. So we are done with this. So the next thing, if I hit my comma, it's going to ask me for the column. What column do I need to pull data away from? So right now we talked about the row. So this particular row right here is adventure. So this animation is giving me the value right here. But right now the column, this is a column, a column. Here is a row, is a column. So what column do we want? So how do we get a column we want? So I'm going to still use match, and this column is going to be determined by the number that changes right here by every single time we select from our dashboard. So how are we going to do this? So it's going to be asking for the lookup. The lookup is going to be this particular one right here, which is what? Which is this. Is it really correct? Let's see that. So what we're gonna do right now is just that we've had this one selected, because this one is dynamically coming from what? Coming from the selection we made from our dashboard. So we had it selected. So we want to say, okay, now that we have this selected, so what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna place comma on it. I'm gonna say, okay, the array is this. Try to look up from here, what does it match? If it match anyone right here, pull that column for me. So right now I can actually close and hit enter. So hit enter again to actually have the bracket. So now it's giving me this particular value, because it's actually matching this stuff right here. So if I select one, so let's see what it's going to give me. So if I select one, it's giving me the revenue, and now it seems something is wrong a little bit. So let's see what that is. Okay, it should give me something different right now. So what I'm going to do is just for me to actually double click on this and see how we can actually lock this down. So now I've locked it down. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give it the comma and give it the exact match. If I hit actually close this time around, what I'm going to see is this. So if I actually drag this down, so we're going to see that it actually is working very fine now. So right now what we can do right now is for we to actually start to actually get this down. Now let's get down to the dashboard and see what we have right here. So the dashboard is actually taking control of the whole step. So if we go right now, it's actually changing gradually, but we might not really see the effect on this right now until actually go ahead and actually have this particular data label placed on this. So here we have it. So I can actually go and actually give it the white background, white color, which is the font color is going to be white right now, for we to see it so seriously the way it should be. Now here we go. Now if we place our filter, it's going to be dynamically going to like be what it is. Now awesome, right? This is the revenue, this is the number of movie that is actually attached to this. So the actual movie has 900 movies. This is awesome. So now it's actually cool. We've actually done this part of it. So now the next thing we're going to do right now is just for me to have this done right here. So let me go to my image and actually give this okay, I have something like this here that we're gonna use with this. It's very simple. I'm gonna copy it away from here. Now we're trying to hide our filter. How do we hide our filter? It's very easy, like simple. I mean, if I say simple, I mean very simple. I have been doing this over and over again from most of my dashboards. So I'm gonna actually show you how this code can be used and write it in a very simple way to actually get this done. So I'm gonna click on the top right level right here. I'm gonna go to insert, and from insert I can insert kind of shape right here. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna insert it down here. So now that I have this shape inserted, so what I'm going to do right now is this, for me to right click on it and go to this particular format shape, and from format shape you can change the color of the shape to this particular color, and I'm going to say now filter it. So if I have this closed, it's okay, so I can actually make sure the roundness is a little bit curvy. So now that I have this, I can actually have it like this. So if you look at it, how am I gonna, if I have it open, how am I gonna close it? So we need to have it that button. So the button is gonna be this particular button right here, and I'm gonna make sure the button is as big as this, and I'm gonna bring it down. This button is gonna be on my close button. So I'm gonna say close. So if I say close, I'm going to go to the top level and make sure I have it on bold. So I'll have it on bold, and I'm going to have it on black color. So exactly something like this. So if I have it in black color, if I go to the top level, I'm going to go to this particular format. So from format, I'm going to choose this particular shape effect. So go right here and choose this particular effect right now. So now go back to this home and make sure we have it centralized. Exactly, this is what we need to have. So how about it? This is cool, right? So I can actually click on it and click on this as well, and actually group them together, but not really for now. So I'm going to actually take my, so I'm going to take it over from here. So now here we go. I'm going to take my filter, which is my slicer. So I'm going to bring it to the top level. So bring it to the front. So let me just right click and bring it up. So in front. So now here we go. So if I actually take it to the top level right now, what I'm going to have is this. Now I can click at the top level right here and go to what I'm going to go to options. From options, I'm going to see this, and I can now right click on it and actually duplicate. So from duplicate, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to change the whole slider's color. So let's see how we can do that. So if I click on that, I'm going to say border. I don't need border. I'm going to say fill. This time I'm going to use this color for fill. That is cool. So I'm going to say okay. So I'm going to go to the header and do the same thing to what I've done right now. So I'm going to say fill for this. For border, I'm going to say I don't need border. I remove the border. I take it out. So now if I go to this, I'm going to do the same thing to this for this selected. Now if you look at what happened right here, is that selected item with data. So I'm going to say no border, and the fill is going to be this very one, the same color. That is how I used to do my slicer and format it nicely. So I'm going to go to hover, and this time around this hover is going to be no border as well. When we hover over it, there is no border, but when we hover over it, I want you to give me this color every single time we hover. So what about the unselected item? Unselected item is going to stick around the same color because I want to create some kind of, you know, effect that I really feel like it's going to be cool with. So right now the selected item is going to carry a different font color, which is going to be white, and the white is going to be in bold. And here we go. If I hit OK and hit OK right here as well, now it's not really working, but I can choose to go to the top level right here and hit OK. This is nice, right? It's working fine right now. So this is exactly what I really wanted. So now if I select something, it's going to be this. So it's going to work on it. It's really working. So now it's on white, so I can actually deselect it from here, and now I can click on this and click on this at the same time. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to have to hold my control and actually say group. So if I click on group, it's grouped together. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go to the top level and see what name is it that I have. Now click on this, tell me I'll have the selection pan right here. If you don't know how I got this, just go to what, do page layout. Okay, I'm going to select this away from here, select. So page layout, from page layout you're going to see selection pan. So if I click on it, this is what I have. So now I can rename this to something else. I can say selection filter just filter. That's cool, just filter. So right now I have it named filter, so I'm gonna go right now, I'm gonna drag this down right here for now. So now all we need to do is just test something. So if I go to the what, if I go to developer, I'm gonna see this Visual Basic, I'm gonna click on it. So right now what I'm gonna do is that I have to locate this particular one I'm working in is this particular one. I think okay, this is the one I'm working in right now. So this is it. We don't have module on it, so I need to actually go create module for the one I'm working on. So the one I'm working on right now is this particular one, so I can actually click on insert and hit on this module, and I have inserted a new module. So let's see how we can write this simple code is going to actually help us to do this. So I'm going to say sub filters, okay, underscore hide underscore show wherever. So now within this particular aspect, I'm gonna actually have to put my code in right here. So I'm gonna be starting with if condition. If condition it goes well in Excel, in Power BI, in SQL, in programming language like PHP or whatever. So let's see how if is gonna actually help us to do this. So if active sheet dot shapes. So now what is the shape in the active sheet? This is the active sheet. So we are trying to say if active sheet right here dot shape has a what, has a shape inside it that is named filter. I believe it's filter, not filters. So let's just verify we have it opened. So here is it, it's filter, not filters. So it has a shape inside it named filter. So I'm going to close it, and the visibility visible, okay, the visibility is equal to false, which means is not showing. I want you to do something. I'm gonna say done. So what I want to do right now, we have to still go ahead and copy, because we are going to write the same thing. Instead of which writing the same thing, why don't we just copy from here? So I'm gonna say copy, and this time around I'm gonna go down and say okay, what I need to do for me is to make it true. So make it true, else turn it to false. It's exactly what it is. So now I'm gonna say end if. So let me recap what I've done right here. So what I've done right here is this: if this workbook has been opened and the slicer is not showing, which means it's gonna be false. That is in the active sheet there is a particular shape named filter, which is where we have our slicers. So if it is not showing and we have this button, we're going to be actually connected to this filter hide and show. So if this button is being clicked, I want to show, so it's going to be true. So if the button is clicked again, it's going to be false. This is exactly what we really want. So I'm going to actually test it out and see if this is really working for me. And now it's working. If I bring it back, it's working just like this. So right now, as you can see, this is the code that is working. This line of code is the one working right now. But if we click it once again, the line of code that is working right now is this particular one right here. So this is awesome. So you can actually go ahead and actually test it out and see how you can actually create this from the scratch. So now if I actually come right here, I can click on this, right click on it, and actually go to assign macros. So if I say assign macro right now, I'm gonna locate, because I have a lot of macros right here that I've actually created before. I'm gonna go for this. I say filter hide and show. So I'm gonna actually double click on it, and that is all. So if I place my cursor on this now and place my cursor on this, you can see there are some kind of differences, right? So this is just show you the macros, and if I go right here, it's showing me a finger pointing at this. If I click on it, here is what I have. So right now I can actually move this down here just like what we have in the other one. So I can actually click on this particular one, which is this, and assign the same macro to this. I'm going to go and click on assign macro, and I'm still going to assign the same macro to this. So here we go, nicely. If I click on this, it closes it. If I come and click right here, it shows me how bad it is. That is nice, right? So let us see the finished dashboard and see how this is really cool in it. So this is exactly what we are trying to actually get to build, and now successfully we've built this. Is working fine, is working so well. I believe yours is working for you as well. If you have any problem, or if you encounter any problem, do not hesitate to actually message me right on this particular channel. I'm gonna help you out to actually make sure you have a very nice dashboard being built. So this is how awesome this that kind of dashboard could go. So thank you very much for watching. If this is your first time of being on my channel, all you need to do is just for you to hit the subscribe button and let us connect together every single time and work together and see how we can actually move analytics forward using Excel, Power BI and SQL. So thank you very much for watching. Stay blessed and stay out of trouble.